Hi, I'm Sally Elias Kesey, the Cake MD, and I have a little friend. Stand up, friend. That's my little one, Samira. All right, sit down, friend. All right, so I moved just within my house. So I found a new space where I can set up my baking area with better lighting. I'm in the laundry room. It's a little quieter too. So this is kind of a new scene for us today. We're going to do something pretty simple, but kind of a classic for Egyptian baking. We're going to make ghorayebah today, which is a shortbread cookie traditionally made for feast days. And it is very simple. It is just made with flour, all-purpose flour. It is made with clarified butter. You can make it with regular butter, unsalted, but the clarified butter, which is also called semna in Arabic, you might know it as ghee, which is not quite the same, but close enough, is really going to elevate this cookie. So I would recommend that if you can find clarified butter or make your own, that you use that. And then the final ingredient is powdered sugar. So those are the elemental ingredients, but I also like to add a little almond extract. That is optional. For decoration, you can make it simple with just decorating the tops with slivers of pistachios or almonds, or the traditional thing was to decorate with dragees. I think that people got away from using dragees because they were considered potentially toxic. Don't worry, nobody's actually had any GI issues from or toxicity issues from dragees, but yet we'll stay away from those. But there is a sprinkle version of little silver dragees now that you can use, and these are just made from Wilton. So if you want to go the traditional classic look for ghorayebah, then you can still do that. Okay?
So, and I'm helping.
So we're going to keep it simple today, like I said. I have a mixer. You don't have to have a stand mixer. You can use a hand mixer. Probably would not try to do it by hand completely without a mixer because we do have to beat the butter to an airy and creamy point. So this I picked up, that's why it's got my name on it. So I picked up big batches of this from a convent in Georgia made by nuns. So I totally love that. You can make clarified butter at home though. You can buy ghee in almost any supermarket these days. So this clarified butter has been kept in the fridge. Now normally the benefit of clarified butter or ghee is that it can be kept at room temperature because clarified butter has been rendered to the point where the water is removed. And so when the water and the milk solids are removed, you get a non-perishable product that you can leave at room temperature. So you think about that process for other food products, like for example, salting meat or dehydrating food. The element that is going to make food go rancid or make it perishable is the water. When you're dehydrating food, you remove water to make it non-perishable. When you're salting and curing meat, you have to remove the water to make it into a beef jerky, for example, and make it non-perishable. That's where we are with the ability to keep it at room temperature. Now, for the purposes of making ghorayebah though, I put it cold. I put it in the fridge for a few hours to get it to cold. And clarified butter has a lower melting point than butter does. So at room temperature, it can become liquid. But I want it really cold when I start to make my ghorayebah. Let's go ahead and get started. So I want to tell you about a couple of different approaches to making this cookie. A shortbread cookie is by nature full of fat, butter. And why is it called shortbread? Because the gluten strands in a shortbread cookie have so much fat that they are broken or shortened, very short gluten strands, so that the cookie is not tight, overworked, tough, which is not a pleasant cookie. So the gluten strands in a shortbread cookie are very short. And so when they talk about shortbread or shortening, that's where the word comes from. It's shortening the gluten strand so that you have a soft, crumbly, sandy cookie. Now, if you were to overwork a shortbread cookie, even with all the fat in it, you could potentially make a tough cookie, which is why you are not going to overwork the dough once the flour has been added. Okay, so let's get started. There are two different ways to approach this cookie. You can do the traditional recipe would be about 90% butter or clarified butter in this recipe. So about 4 cups of flour to 2 cups butter. That will give you a beautiful tasting cookie. It will be somewhat flattened and round like a button, which is very tasty. Now, if you really want your ghorayebah to be more pronounced and risen and have a nice shape, like almost like a gumdrop, then you can go down to about 60% of butter. And when I say percent, the flour is always your base, so flour is always 100%, and then the butter in grams, not in cups, is the percent is quantified as a percentage of the flour. So in this case, we're going to have 500 grams of flour. So the clarified butter, which we're going to do today, we're going to do 60% of that flour in butter. So we're going to do 300 grams of butter, clarified butter, for 500 grams of all-purpose flour. And that's going to give us a cookie that is more the shape of a gumdrop, so a little bit higher shape as opposed to a flattened shape. So let's get started. We're going to get started with 300 grams of the cold clarified butter.
Sugar.
Yeah, I'm going to add 175 grams of powdered sugar. So that's just about 35% of the flour content. All right, and I'm not going to sift it. We're just going to pour it in. We've got powdered sugar and we've got the cold clarified butter in there, and we're going to go ahead and start up. So we have blended the clarified butter, creamed the clarified butter with the sugar. I'm going to show you that. Okay, so, and I scraped it a couple of times, but it's nice and creamy, okay? And the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add some almond extract. So I'm just going to add a teaspoon of almond extract, which is 5 grams or 5 mils. All right, I'm just going to mix that by hand really quick, and then we'll put it back on the mixer. With the flour. 500 grams of flour, and I'm just going to add it in all at once. I mean, I have done it gradually before, but this is just easier for me to measure it into one bowl and be done, and it still works out fine. So we're going to measure out 500 grams of all-purpose flour. Again, I don't need to sift.
It smells good.
Does it? Because it's got the almond extract in it. Yeah.
It smells super good.
So now I have a new helper. The first helper I had was my little one, Samira, and this is my middle one, Shandor. Put that back on the mixer. As you can see, really simple. 3 to 4 ingredients max. So we're going to go slow. And then we're going to speed it up in a little bit, but just until it's combined, because I don't want to overwork the flour. I'm just going to get this fairly combined. I'm going to go ahead and scrape the sides. We're going on low because, Again, we're just trying to combine, not trying to overmix the dough. We're just going to give that probably another 30 seconds because it's all coming together already. And then I'm going to scrape again. And really get to the bottom of that bowl to make sure that everything is getting combined. One more time for about 30 more seconds. It's coming together and clumping around the paddle. You can stop. Don't go any further. The dough should be tacky but not sticky, and let me explain to you what that means to me.
Doesn't it mean like nothing matches, like with clothes?
Oh, that's what tacky means in terms of fashion, but not in terms of baking.
Oh.
Different definition. Alright. Alright, so that's what my finished dough looks like. Okay, so you can see it comes together in a mass. Start to form balls with it, I'll show you. So I can form a ball with it without it sticking to my hand, but it's not dry, okay? So that's where I want it. I'm going to stop. When it is still cool feeling, you can actually go right ahead and start rolling it into your cookie shapes. But it is starting to warm up a little bit in here, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the fridge for about 15 minutes. And that way it gets a little resting time and it cools off a little bit. And then we're going to start forming the dough into cookie balls. Pretty much done. I mean, these are super easy cookies. All right, so we'll be back.
Bye!
Bye! Everybody's back. So our dough is here. It's been chilling for about 15 minutes. And what I want to do is weigh each piece. You don't have to do this, but for consistency's sake, since we're probably going to be using these for cookies that we sell at church for donations, we're going to go ahead and make them 7 grams each. I also have a tiny teaspoon cookie scooper. I just use this for simplicity's sake, but you don't have to have one of these. My little helper here is going to do 1 tray with the silver sprinkles. And then we're going to do another tray with pistachios. So we're going to weigh our first piece. Thank you, Samira, for demonstrating. And we have got, so now we know it takes about a full scooper to make some. All right, so we're going to just very briefly put it into a nice circular shape. We don't want to overdo or over knead it in our hands, because that will result in a tight cookie. And Samira, our trusty helper, will add the dragee for us.
Can I roll one?
You can roll one. Very briefly, like very small amount. Don't smush it and don't make it warm in your hands because we don't want it to be too soft, okay? All right, good. And then you're going to press in the middle with just one finger. And there you go. Perfect. No, that's enough. And so there you go. These cookies are perfect to do with your. So for sake of speed, we're just going to do the rest of this off camera. And we will have a tray with the silver dragees and a tray with the pistachios, and we'll be back. See you soon. Say, see you later.
See you later.
Here we go. We made about 6 dozen Ghorayebah, or almond shortbread cookies. Okay, we made some with the pistachios and some with the silver sprinkles in the middle. So after we put them all out on the baking pans, I put them in the fridge for about 15 minutes to chill before I bake them at 325 standard oven, not convection, for 12 minutes for each tray. Okay, these are wonderful, and the whole delight or benefit of having these cookies for our Easter coming up, for the resurrection feast, is that we can keep these cookies in an airtight container for several weeks, and they just really get better with age. Not perishable for a long time anyway. They don't need to be refrigerated, and typically Coptic people, Egyptian people, even Lebanese people will have these with a cup of tea every afternoon. So enjoy them, they're super easy, and thank you for joining us.